to Miss Confession with yours truly, Hales, and we're here at Confession 13. Holy smokes, I know I say this every week, but I still can't believe that I was able to concentrate my brain to remember that I had to post another video this week for you guys. So thank you so much for all of you who sent such kind and honestly heartwarming messages last week after last week's video, because as I had said in the beginning, it was a very hard topic for me to post about just because it was so out of my comfort zone. It was so personal. Not that all of these aren't, but it was just so near and dear to my heart, and it was something that I never thought I'd speak about on a public platform. So just thank you for the messages. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate you guys more than you know. But without further ado, let's get into it. Confession 13. Kind of looked like a 12, but it was really 13. So here we are. As promised, it's something that I have been so excited to share with you people, and here it is. I feel like I need a drum roll to introduce this because it's like so big. Anyway, let's just cut to the chase. Confession 13 is that I wrote a book. I said this so innocently, and I've realized over the past couple of months that I've been writing this book that I've been so nonchalant about it, which is why I wanted to make a confession for it. So there you have it. Apparently I'm starting my newest endeavor of becoming an author. Who would have thought the girl who can barely speak her mind is an author? So let me give you the backstory, because for those of you who've been following along and know me, I love a good story. Flashback to 19-year-old Haley. As we all well know, she had zero idea what she was doing, but she was determined to figure it out. I had gone to a psychic medium who was really cool. She was super down to earth, and I just wanted a general idea of where my life was going. So I had asked her to just kind of hone in on career, future, maybe possible opportunities that I was going to run into. At that time, I was starting St. Rose. I was maybe like 3 or 4 weeks into the program, and they laid it down on me that I needed to pick a concentration. My concentration I had originally chose was math, because I'm a very strong math student. I love math. I love learning math. I love everything about it. However, silly me didn't realize that my 9 credits I had already had in math were not going to transfer over to St. Rose for anything. So I'd still have to take 33 credits of math, which no me gusta, not here for it. So I said, no thank you, let me do English instead. Mind you, I can barely speak as it is in sentences. I cannot spell better than a 4th grader, and when we're talking about getting ideas down on paper with like journaling, I switch the topic at least 10 times per page. So English was not my strong suit. So during this medium reading, the woman had come forth and said that she saw me writing a book. A book, like a full book, like front to back book, words in between. I'm pretty sure when she said that, I looked at her as if she had 10 heads, because never was Haley Claire Winch going to be writing a book. I could tell you that for sure. Flash forward to again my favorite time of the past year, the quarantine stage, because apparently that's when myself has exploded into who I was meant to be. So I was meditating one night during quarantine, and I just kept hearing like, write the book. I think Meredith wanted to be in the shot because she was also here for that night. So Meredith, let's tell them. It was during quarantine, and I had heard numerous times over one night that I needed to write a book. And again, I just started laughing because like, hello, not for me. I obviously ignored the thought, pretended like I never heard it. And you know, for weeks on end, I just kept hearing like, it's time to write the book, it's time to write the book, it's time to write the book. So at the same time that these thoughts were coming through to me, I was also going through my breakup with Peter Pan, who I referred to in Confession 4. I all of a sudden made the connection with what Spirit was telling me and what my own intuition was saying, and that I needed to write a book about my breakup with Peter Pan. I came in like a wrecking ball. That's what my thought sounded like, just to give you guys an inside look of my head. That night, I immediately left my meditation, ran out to my couch, sat my butt down with my laptop, and started outlining this book that sprung from the idea of Peter Pan, who in my book becomes known as Dave. Dave, in my experience with him and my relationship with him, then became the springboard for everything else that I wanted to encapsulate in this book. And once one idea started coming, they all started flowing. When I was creating the outline, I started to realize that there were so many messages that were coming through, not only from my relationships, but the breakups more importantly. The day after I started planning the outline, I began diving right into chapter 1, and it was introducing myself and who I was. And it was that day that I really started to figure out who exactly I am. Haley Claire Winch in the present, who am I? From there, I just started springboarding so many different ideas of what can go into this book, what are the messages that I want to come through strong for the people that are going to read it, whether it's a young girl, an older guy, people my age, people who know me, people who don't know me. What is it that I want them to take away after reading cover to cover of my book? And again, the messages and the ideas and the big picture came through so easily as I sat there and looked at the shell of my book, and it was to love yourself. That's exactly what I was doing even writing the book, was learning to love myself, figuring out who I am. What did Dave, this character that I wrote about in my book, teach me about myself? Each day I woke up so excited to just write a little bit more about a personal experience or a lesson that I learned or something horrible I did or, a memory that I had and how that ultimately shaped me into the person that I now am. I had to step away and say, okay, who am I as Haley Claire Winch? Who am I as Miss Confession? Who am I as Miss Winch the teacher? Who am I as a person? And how did I learn who I am? How did I get to the point where I fully and utterly love myself? As I was writing the book and adding on to it, I was finding every single day new things that I loved about myself. Whether other people noticed them or it was just myself, I just kept finding more and more things to truly and utterly love about who I was. When it was all said and done, I ended up looking at my computer and realized that, holy crap, I actually wrote a book. And it was something that I felt personally was worth reading and sharing with the world. I won't lie, I was super hesitant about sending it to an editor, but after talking to friends, after talking to my counselor, after talking to my parents, I decided that this message was so beyond just me. It was not something that I individually have struggled with my whole life, which was loving myself and learning from past relationships or breakups or memories or situations that I don't get love from other people. Other people aren't giving me love. It's something that I had to learn to internalize and create for myself. I had to learn to love myself in order to get love back. Once I took the initial step of sending that book to my editor, I realized that this needed to be something that I published for anyone and everyone who needed to hear that message. Because at one point, I was a 16-year-old who needed to hear the message that I wrote about in my book. And that's exactly why I did it. With that all being said, I'm super excited to announce that Heartbreak-Proof, Beyond the Bubble Baths and Wine to True Self-Love will be releasing next month for all of you lovies who have been looking to read it. As you can tell by my beaming smile, I'm super excited and so proud to be sharing this book and sharing my journey with you guys. Throughout the book, I made it a point to make it as authentic as possible, so some of the stories that are in there are extremely hard for me to share. I would be lying if I said that I was super excited to share everything, because I'm not. But I also know I would be doing a disservice not sharing those stories with you guys, because I know people out there have been through similar situations that I have. So there you have it. I wrote my first book. I'm super, super proud of myself and extremely happy that I was finally able to make this dream a reality, even though all those years ago I didn't even know it was possible. Never have I ever expected myself to be able to write a book, but here I am having written a book and almost to the point where it's published and printed for all of you people who are looking to read it. It's a super amazing feeling, and if you have something like that that you are really excited about or passionate about, do it, because it pays off. Be on the lookout for my website that I'm going to be publishing, where you guys can pre-order Heartbreak-Proof, and I will be giving you guys more updates because I keep hearing that it's something that people want to learn more about, and obviously I'm more than willing to confess about it or to even just talk about it. And that's all I wrote for this week. I'm so funny. Make sure you're liking and subscribing Miss Confessions YouTube page, as well as following along on this dysfunctional hot mess of a ride that I call my life on Instagram @Hale74. Make sure you check out next week's Confession 14 on God knows what. Haven't planned it yet. I'm not planning on planning it until next weekend. Bye, guys.